In a moment, you're going to hear a piece of music. I'd like you to just close your eyes, listen, and see what images come into your head. I've always liked this particular jazzed up version of Eine kleine Nachtmusik. And the more you listen to it, at least the more I listen to it, the more it sounded like clocks. It sounds like ticking away in the background. So I listened to it over a period of months, off and on. And it occurred to me that perhaps it could be interesting to make a film about clocks. And again, listening to the music, it occurred that perhaps, as well as just clocks, you could bring in how you've marked time over a whole period of time, from say the beginning when they start with moon calendars and sun calendars, right the way through to ordinary clockwork, digital clocks, the whole thing. So first of all, just listen to the music and start doing a few things that the music suggests. For example, cogwheels, clock faces, watches ticking around, this sort of thing. But it seems that maybe just a thing on clocks would be a bit dead. Perhaps it would be better if you could bring in a character of some sort. And again, the obvious character seemed to be Time, Father Time. I'd done one or two films involving Santa Clauses, so I thought perhaps Father Time with a longer beard, type Santa Claus with a long beard, something like this perhaps. So the next stage is finding out much more detailed information on the actual mechanics of what you want to do, and usually I go to the library and get some books out. In this case, it was specifically things like, in which direction does the Earth spin around the Sun? What direction does the Earth itself spin in? If you want the Moon to go around the Earth, which direction does it go around? All things like this. Normally, many books give you the information, but not the actual business about movement, and this is the problem with animation. You have to really know quite a lot about the subject before you can make it move convincingly. So the next stage is really ploughing through books, finding out a whole lot of basic information about how the particular things you want to work in the film do move, how they're constructed, what makes them tick, literally in this case. That movie was shot over 30 years ago, and it was done by a friend of mine who was going to record how things were actually done then. Sadly, that's the only bit I've got. I'm not planning the full movie. All I'm doing is planning out the basic stages of all the key things as suggested by the music. So back to the future.
5, take 1, have it.
So by working this way, you can really sort out the movement in relation to the sound. Once you've got everything drawn, you can fit it in. Around, zoom in, zoom out, sun up, down, moon up, down, into the moon, out, moon round the Earth, counting into 30, and then on to the next bit. So here's the next stage, where you can see the ideas that came out of my head listening to the music have actually taken shape visually. It was curious at this time what you had to do to actually get sound onto a film. It's totally different to the method used now. In my archives, I still have the marking time box back from the lab. When we open the box, we've got two spools. One is the sound, and the other is the movie. In my case, the sound always came first because I timed the sound, as you know, and that was recorded onto 16mm sprocketed magnetic tape, which was then threaded into a double band projector like this one, which in turn was plugged in to my tape deck. Once the tape was recorded, then it was over to the editing bench or PicSync, in which the tape was threaded over the playhead, where you can hear every sound, which is then counted via the frame counter and by me on a bar sheet. You then can sit back at your lightbox with the bar sheet, draw every frame as you draw your frames, record that on an exposure sheet, and then use the exposure sheet to help you shoot the film. To sum up, 1, you sit and listen to the music and think what you might do. 2, you time the music frame by frame. 3, you then shoot the film. And 4 is my mum sitting crocheting whilst I'm busy making films. She crocheted a loop at a time and I made films a frame at a time. There's no difference really. And there's no difference basically between how we did it then and how we do it now. For example, what I'm using now to record this is my iPhone on voice recorder. So in many ways that's a lot easier, but the principle is exactly the same. It's just all about matching images to sound. Whatever method you use, have fun.